We have a new assistant coach, Joey Holcomb, here with us. Joey, if you can make an opening statement, and then we'll open up the questions.
Yeah. I'm excited to be a part of South Carolina. I mean, the rich tradition is something that's known all over the country, and I'm just excited to be able to join the Gamecock family.
Perfect. If media, if you have a question, use the raise hand function. I'll call on you, and we will start with Michael and Anna from the state.
Hey, Joey. So could you give us some insight into sort of how this came together, maybe what some of the conversations were like? Obviously, this is sort of a new thing with having a third paid assistant. Just what was the process like of landing with South Carolina?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm still a little bit in the dark on how all this happened. I think that when South Carolina decided that they wanted to explore options for that third paid assistant, I think it worked out in my favor that Campbell played at South Carolina, and I think that we had a really good offensive year this past year at Campbell. And I think that when South Carolina had to start preparing scouting reports and digging a little bit deeper into our team, I think they saw that the way that we run our offense is very similar to the way that they run their offense, and so I think they like that. I think they like the idea of being able to bring in someone that's on the same page as them. Honestly, a couple of weeks after the regional was done, I was recruiting and doing my thing for Campbell, and I got a phone call from Coach Kingston, expressing some interest. He wasn't quite sure how it was going to work out or what it was going to look like moving forward. Had great conversations with him, and then I guess he finally made the decision and gave me a call and offered me the position, and it didn't take long for me to say yes.
Next, we'll go to Alan Cole from Gamecock Scoop.
You mentioned those conversations with Mark Kingston. What were those conversations like, and did you kind of have any relationship with him before you accepted this job?
No relationship. I've always admired him from a distance. I've followed his career. He's always been one of the better coaches in the country. So I've known of Coach Kingston, but I've never really had a chance to have a conversation with him. He called me out of the blue, like I said, and he just talked about how impressed he was with Campbell's team and how the way that we ran our offense and our program was just like how South Carolina runs their program, and was asking if I would like to be a part of what they do there. So no prior relationship, but great conversations.
Next, go to John Whittle from Vicksburg.
Hey, Joey, welcome to South Carolina.
Thank you.
Wanted to see what the role is going to look like. What were the discussions like with you guys? Obviously, first time there's a third paid assistant. Do you expect it to evolve a little bit, or do you feel like you have a pretty set game plan on exactly how it's going to look?
I think anytime you bring someone new into your organization, I think that you have an idea of how you want to utilize them, but as you don't really you have an idea of their strengths and weaknesses, but once you get them in your organization and you're with them every single day, you start to get a better feel for that. And so then that's when you start to make minor changes here and there, being able to utilize their strengths. Talking with the South Carolina staff going into it, I spoke with Monty Lee a couple times, and he was talking about I will help him with the recruiting side of things. Like, he's down here, I'm in Hoover with me right now, and he's kind of steering the ship. Go see this player, go see this game. And so I'm an extra set of eyes for him there. And then offensively, it's going to be him and I are going to be working together on the offense. I'll be following his lead. And then same for the position players. It sounds like Monty is pretty active in establishing the practice plan for development and development for the position players. And so, I'll be a part of that as well.
Next, we'll go to Jack Veltri from Gamecock Central.
Hey, Joey, Jack Veltri, GamecockCentral.com with On3. Just wanted to ask you a little bit about Monty Lee, as you were kind of referring to before. What's kind of your excitement level to work with a guy of that caliber? And then what can you two accomplish together next season?
I'm extremely excited. Monty is he is a coach that's established. He's been successful. It's, he's known as a great offensive mind. He's known as a player's coach. He has a great relationship with his players, coaches all over the country. So I'm excited to kind of see how he works and how he's, how he goes about his daily business. So I'm excited to learn a lot from him. So what was the second part of that question? I'm sorry.
Just what do you feel like you and him, working together next season can accomplish with the offense?
I'm gonna be honest with you, they were really good last year. I don't know. It honestly, I won't know what I'll be able to bring to the table until I actually get in there and get to work with those guys.
Back to Michael and Nana.
Yeah, Joey, you said that your offenses at Campbell and South Carolina were similar, kind of the same approach and things like that. What are some of kind of the similarities in beliefs and philosophy? What are some of the main points of philosophy that you believe in terms of hitting and what you preach to hitters?
Yeah, for sure. I think when you're establishing a lineup with today's college game and the arms becoming what they are, it's hard to score a lot of runs and walk out of the stadium with 15, 16, 17 hits. Like those days are over with because the level of pitching is so good. And so as you continue to play into the season and into the postseason, regional, super regionals, the level of arms continue to get better and better and better. And I say that because I think it's important to have a lineup of physical athletic players. And so you're not going to be able to stand up there and hit singles and doubles and singles and doubles and score a bunch of runs. You're going to have to rely on being able to hit the ball out of the park and have that 3-run home run. That's the difference in the game. Or even be able to do short game type stuff to be able to pressure guys, get guys off the mound, make them feel their position. And when you get on base, make them feel your presence. This guy might run. This guy may take advantage of this breaking ball that I'm throwing in the dirt. And so it really puts pressure on that guy on the mound to be able to be at his best. So, to be extremely well-rounded is important to me. Physical, athletic guys that we can train to help do all phases of the game, so that when one thing's not working, we have plan B, we have plan C. And so that's something that I think South Carolina has, and I'm excited to jump on board with that.
Go back to John Will.
Yeah, what were your impressions during the regional of Founders Park and the atmosphere there? What stands out to you about that trip, or any other trips that you may have had around before?
No. I mean, it is a first-class facility. I mean, you walk in and as a visiting team, and you haven't even taken pregame BP yet, and you're already intimidated. It's something you walk in and you're just in shock. All of our guys are. We're trying to get ready to play a baseball game and be focused, and everybody's videoing and Snapchatting pictures and everything. Look at this place. This is amazing. And then, I got my first real taste of the environment. I came and watched the NC State South Carolina game, and that crowd was loud and they were in it. And it was a fun atmosphere. It was definitely a fun atmosphere.
Back to Jack.
Yeah, Joey. So just going on next season, what are some of your own goals for when you come to Columbia, and what are some of the things you think that you'll be able to preach to hitters that they might have not known before?
I was actually just talking with Coach Lee a moment ago, and we were talking about some offensive type stuff, and we are very much on the same page. A lot of the things that we say are the same thing. We have the very exact same belief system. Maybe the one thing that I can bring to the table with that is maybe I say it a different way. And, it's not always what you say, it's what the person you're talking to hears. And so maybe I'm able to communicate certain things differently than that he is, even though it's the same message that can get across to a guy, and maybe it helps click with him and he can advance from there.
So Alan.
You mentioned your philosophies that are important to you, being well-rounded. Kind of, how would you describe yourself as a coach, though, just in terms of actually connecting with guys, and maybe what's important to you on that front?
Yeah. The first piece is always establishing that relationship. Like if you're going to try to be on the field and help a player improve, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to point out the weaknesses. Hey, like, this is where you're struggling. And if you don't have a relationship with that player, and that player doesn't know in their heart that he wants what's best for me, then sometimes it just comes across as criticism, and then those players can immediately go into a shell and they don't want to listen. So if you don't have that relationship, they're not going to be open to hearing your thoughts and ideas, and understanding that you're not criticizing them. You're trying to point out weaknesses to help them become a more well-rounded player.
Any more questions for? Oh, yep, Jack, go ahead.
Thanks, Ken. So Joey, just wanted to ask you, have you had any conversations with any of the guys on the team currently? And was there anything in particular that you were impressed by with South Carolina's offense when Campbell did play them in the regional?
Yeah, I have not had a chance to talk to any of the players yet. I know most guys are out playing summer ball, and it's kind of a busy time of the year for everybody. And so I'm trying to get my family packed up and moved to Columbia as quickly as we can so that I can get down there and start establishing those relationships with those guys. When I think back to the regional, I look at that team that ran out on the field, and I just, I felt like we were a physical team, which I think, it's important, like I said earlier. But man, there's some big boys. There's some big boys for sure. So I was just impressed with the size. Like I said, you walk into the game, that stadium, and number one, you see the stadium, and the tradition that's been on that field, and the things that they've done in the past, and it's intimidating. And then those dudes come running out of the dugout, and you're just like, oh boy, like this. That's just even more.
All right, any other questions for Joey? All right, we'll let him go. Joey, appreciate it. Welcome to Columbia again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.